Leaving Team Kuribrohs here with Cormac Adams' X2 finish from YCS London.
Yeah.
Somehow X2 didn't top.
Yeah, X2 35th.
There's 3 he didn't top.
It was like me, Jesse Cotton, and someone else.
Yeah, so
I know some people were asking about this list, so I was going around just the event hall earlier today, and
yeah.
I know people were for some reason interested in what I was playing. I played Danger FTK, just because I was like, this deck seems insane.
Yeah, FTKs are usually pretty.
They're usually pretty good. Well, when they're consistent and they're powerful, and they can play going second, they're usually all right.
Yeah.
So I just decided like, I'll go with this. I didn't really test a whole lot. I was kind of like told about it. Like I was like, I knew a good bit about it leading up into the week, but then I was like told to play it like Friday afternoon.
Yeah. So
I like rushed to get the cards, and then I barely tested it at all. A lot of it was just sort of theory based. Some things I threw together like this Saturday morning. I just kind of like, it worked out. I was 2-2 after round 4, and I considered like dropping at that point because I thought it was shite. And then I went 7-0, and I was like, maybe I can top, and then 35th. So, but happens. But yeah, I won't bore it any longer. Let's get into the profile. If people have seen a couple of the profiles beforehand, this will look very standard.
Yeah.
So we play triple Nessie. Rhoda's good, especially when it's level 7.
Yeah.
Triple Suchinoko. Shout out Sedan for the American one. Triple Jackalope. Someone from deck. Triple Chupacabra. Seer. Triple Mothman. Dark World Dealings. Triple Dogman. This card's actually just the awful. Worst one, but it's level 7. So and you have to play like
a game to it.
Yeah, like just because going second, it can be like okay, but it's definitely the worst.
It's definitely awful, right?
Yeah, like you just forced to play so many dangers, and then we play 2 Bigfoot and 2 Thunderbirds. Just had to give one back at the end of the day.
Sure.
So the whole idea is just like these cards are all upstarts at the very worst, and then like these 12 in particular have like insane effects. They're just insane consistency and just summon cards.
Yeah.
And this works really well both with this engine and with the Dark Worlds that you play.
Sure.
And it just helps you cycle through cards, and it just means that like the deck is so consistent at just getting to what it needs to every time, which is just the FTK. Yeah. And then the reason behind playing just 2 Bigfoot and 2 Thunderbird is that these are the worst ones when you're going first, because they actually do nothing, and they are not like Dogman, which is level 7 for Tomahawk plays. So they're literally just the exact same as like all of the rest of these, but the first 12 have relevant effects when they're discarded. Mothman has a relevant effect to like help dig into your deck, and this is level 7 for Tomahawk. So these are just the worst ones. I will say there were points where I was considering playing like maybe like a 3rd Thunderbird just for backrow decks, but
I heard there was some lists playing it as like a go in second deck.
Yeah, there's some lists are playing like Danger OTK, but I just think like the deck was so consistent with doing what it was meant to do that it was fine. And then for the Dark World package, I played Triple Brow, Double Snow, 1 Grapha. Yeah. So the reason behind this lineup is that Brow is just pot of greed whenever it's discarded, because you're always discarding it for a danger. Yeah. So you'll draw one off the danger and then draw another off Brow, which helps dig into your deck. In theory, it's probably correct to play Triple Snow. But 2 reasons why I didn't play Triple Snow. One, these were like £10 each at the vendors, and I was like, I don't know if I want to commit to 3 of these. But secondly, the idea is that against Thunder Dragons, you have 2 of these and 3 Nessie, which are already dead, and the matchup is actually generally pretty favourable for you, even when you go second. But playing too many of these means that it can sort of make hands against a deck that should be pretty much a buy, kind of bit of a brick. Yeah. And then the graph is just for the FTK.
Yeah, you need 1, right?
You need 1. Some people are playing 2 because they were fearing DD Crow. I found that I would just take the L to people who are main decking DD Crow, and just move on. And then like post side, usually the idea is that like DD Crow isn't the hand trap you're worried about, it's the other hand traps. But again, hand traps aren't really your issue with this deck because of stuff you'll see later on. You could have potentially maybe played a 3rd Snow, but
it's also graph is cool if you draw it during second.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is just another like it's a better copy of both Big Man and Thunderbird going second because it pops anything. Yeah, this card's just really good to draw. It's like when you're going second, but not so much going first. Yeah. So yeah, that was the main compartment, and then something that I threw in on the Saturday morning because I was testing just with the standard deck with just all these on the Friday night, and it seemed really bricky and inconsistent. Well, not even so much bricky. It was just the issue that you never felt like you just had enough monsters. You always just keep running out, especially if you just kept hitting your dangers correctly. So you need to find a way to sort of alleviate that, to just get monsters on the board more consistently and just get a guaranteed monsters. Sure. So we decided to play double Armageddon Knight, and then with the stuff that we played alongside it, we played 1 Shadal Beast and 1 Zephyros. Sure. So the idea is that the 2 Armageddon Knight is because 3 of it will actually clog in this deck because of all the dangers being pretty much upstarts in the deck, and then alongside Brow and everything. But the thing is, you are playing enough dangers to the fact that even if you don't open this, you're almost guaranteed to draw into 1 if you're playing 2.
Sure.
And then if you draw into the second, by that point, if you've resolved 1, you're probably like in a good enough position anyway. You can probably just pitch it for a danger.
Sure.
And then these are the 2 targets. The Beast was because it's just a free cycle. If you have just a generic hand that's just full of dangers and no dark rolls, and you just open this, you usually just send the Beast before you do anything else because it's just a free draw, and you might draw into a dark roll and just get your engine properly going, that mix the 2 engines going. And also, if you get to a stage where you've just done a whole load of danger plays but you haven't drawn to dark rolls, but you're able to make Curious, there's times where you just send this, hope to like, it's just digging deeper into your deck to draw more further combo pieces. Because there's times where you don't actually just need to send the Cannon Soldier off of the Curious, because if you just have enough plays, you can just go like Firewall, continuously bounce back of this, keep sending stuff, just keep looping the Firewall by spinning back with Unicorn, and then eventually you just end up with the combo. And then Zephyros is just another free level 4 you can summon. It's really good with the dangers, because if you end up getting to a point where you just have multiples of the same type of danger, or you just need more cards back in your hand to activate danger effects, you just bounce it back with this and it's basically free. It's also level 4, which is very relevant for stuff in the extra deck.
Also, Beast is just like a 4th.
Oh yeah, Beast Warrior is just like, it's just like nothing else in the deck. Well, Dogman is a Beast Warrior, but that's not too relevant.
Shadal Beast.
Oh sorry, Shadal Beast. So
it's a 4th Brow for your deck.
Yeah, essentially it's also just a 4th Brow, which is just like really, really strong. But yeah, and you can also just like, if it's milled by stuff like Curious or whatever, it'll trigger, which is pretty good. And the last monster is Cannon Soldier, because FTK. And then that's 33 monsters in the main deck. Same for the spells. Play triple Allure, just consistency. And then we played double beginning at the end.
So just because of how dark these cards are, we might just show that
they're different cards.
Different cards.
So triple Allure, double beginning at the end. I could probably have played 3 of this. The thought process was that drawing multiples of this sucks, like in early stages of the game, or in your opening hand. But because of all the dangers just digging into your deck so much, you will always draw into at least 1, and usually only really need to resolve 1 to win the game. Because usually what happens most of the time is that you get like 3 or 4 darks in grave, and then you go Curious, sending 3 darks from your field to your grave, and then you dump something, and then you mill 3, and then you have loads of fodder just for beginning of the end. But before that point, you generally don't have enough darks. So I didn't really want to brick or clog on too many of these. And then Allure is just like just cycling through your entire deck. Because of this card, you should have probably changed something in my extra, but we'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, both these cards were fine. And then Card Destruction, because it is just game once you resolve it in this deck. One of my 2 losses in this tournament was because this got judgmented once, and then it triggered the multi-fakers as a last card in hand. That wasn't the issue there, but that was like the starting point where I realized that game was just going to go horribly wrong. But when this card resolved, it's usually game. And the last card is Soul Charge. Just because it's just stupidly insane. Because the thing is, like, if you just, even if your play is pretty poor, and like you go into Curious, but then you just have like 1 danger, and one or 2 dangers left in your hand, and you just go danger effect, pitch, draw, and you just draw this, just win. It just makes everything so much easier. I was considering playing things like Reborn and Succession, but the problem with those is that they're essentially just additional copies of cheaper caliber, and while they can bring back stuff like this, they seemed far too niche, and the deck was so consistent as it was anyway. I would rather just play like more dangers, more dark rolls, and just keep it as low of a deck count as possible. I know some of the CCG guys were playing 42 cards with upset, because you could like set the upset, do effects, and then just have a free draw. I kind of understand the idea, but I think that just having the lowest deck count was probably just the best thing in general.
39 is lower than 40.
39 is lower than 40, but when you're playing upset in 42, it's 41. So
it's really a happy medium. So
and I think pretty much all 40 of the cards in this main deck are more or less mandatory. It makes siding really difficult, but we'll get into that later on. So for extra deck, first off, tokens have to show off Jaden, because GX is the best series. And then for the extra, play 1 Link Spider. Because I'm playing Tomahawk, this comes up in a lot of situations where you need to turn a token into just an actual monster, and then link it up next to Firewall, so you can trigger Firewall. 1 Underclock. I played this over Space Insulator because I felt that like going second, this card is much better, and the arrows would be much better like into boards and whatnot. And I ended up proving it to be pretty good. I know some people were playing. There's this Link 1 Cyber Security Gardener. Security Gardener. Yeah, and I could have probably fit that in. It's essentially another copy of Nightmare Mermaid, which I also played. Just to help trigger Firewall. It probably wasn't the most necessary thing, but I feel like there's a lot of cards in Extract that are actually pretty redundant, so I could have just played that. But to go along with Mermaid and Nightmare package, we're playing Phoenix, Cerberus, and Unicorn. So like these cards are obviously important when going second. This is pretty important when going first because you make this next to the Firewall, so it can't get ogred. And then this is usually sometimes pretty important going first because there's times where if they stop your play on either the Cannon Soldier or the Firewall, you usually have like a Link 1 and a Link 2 or 2 Link 2s or a Link 2 and a monster on your board. So you turn those into Unicorn, use Firewall effect, and then chain this to like bounce the Firewall back into your extra deck so you can just use it again. So it means that like even if they stop you later on in the combo, then you can just basically do it again. They just wasted a card and you just killed them. I played Trigate. This is because I had the idea that if you couldn't resolve FTK in this deck, you could probably still just do a U-Link with the Trigate. It ends up not really proving to be the case. This is pretty much just a dead slot. This probably should have been Levier, which ends up not being able to play because I wasn't able to get one for the event. And that is a reason why cards like Allure were a little bit worse in this deck, because when you play Levier, you can afford to like banish stuff like Cannon Soldier off Allure, because you can just turn 2 level 3s into Levier and bring it back, and then it's fine. But yeah, this is pretty much a blank card. I would tell people to not play this. Curious, you make this pretty much every time when you're doing the FTK, because it just sends usually your last piece, then those 3. I played Firewall, the whole reason the FTK exists, and this card will never be banned, at least for the next year and a half or so. So
just gotta needing sales.
Yeah, just gotta live with this sort of stuff for now, I guess. I played a bunch with the Link 4s as well, so I played Sayuja, just because you can just cycle through your different dangers, and then if you're like missing one last combo piece, so let's say you've got like your Grapha and your Cannon Soldier engraved, but you need like just a Dark World in your hand, you just do this, dig 4 cards into your deck to get like a Brow or a Snow. And then we play Gunblower. It was sort of the same idea as Trigate, but this is actually much more easier to resolve. Because you don't need to do extra link, and then the discard is actually just still really strong for you. So like say for example if they like cherries your Firewall, the times you can still just Gunblower them for 4. And that's pretty much just as good, because then they're left on like 1 card after they've hand trapped you. So I think this card is still pretty good, even if this card was like not that great. And then I played Broadsword just for going second. This card came up so many times. Honestly, this card was just so strong. It probably wasn't wholly necessary, but it just made going second so much easier. Because you could just like clear their boards and stuff like Bigfoots and Thunderbirds, and just like stick this on a board and just like know how to think. And then the last 3 cards in the extra deck were 3 Xyz. So we played Nyarla, as I thought. This is the reason why hand traps aren't that good against this deck, because you can just you can just stick like 2 level 4s on board, just make this. They can't hand trap you at all except for impermanence.
We have a combo that plays through all the cheap enough hand traps.
Yeah, exactly.
And not the expensive ones.
Yeah, more or less. So against cheap players, this just kind of shuts them all off.
I mean, Cherries and Joel are okay.
Yeah, Cherries and Joel are actually pretty good. Spoilers for the side deck. But the thing is, like once you summon this, they're forced to then Cherries the Firewall immediately, because then you just gotta make it into this. And then like there's actually times where you can just make this before you even draw. If you just manage to like 2 level 4s on board with like Armageddon Knight into like into the black one, and then you just summon this. But like this card is just insane. It's just like even against stuff like Striker going second, you just do this, stop their Ray floating, and you just go like Broadsword kill. And then the last card in the extra was Tomahawk, because it just makes stuff so much easier. Like you just make Curious and make this underneath it. You
get to make Sayuja plays as well.
Yeah, make Sayuja plays, or it's just stick like the Firewall on board, and that's usually just game. This card's dumb. This card should also be banned because links exist. And then so the only thing I change in the extra is probably just the Trigate. Some people are saying I should probably play Wee Witch's Apprentice, but I think it's not wholly necessary. In this deck, it's actually just almost impossible to even just stick 2 darks on board without using monster effects anyway, so it wouldn't come up against stuff like Border. And I feel like if anything else, I would just play Levier instead, because like Levier would come up for other combos. Field Center, my hero tokens, because Weeb. Shout out to Waf. So for side deck, this is very like rudimentary and basic. Triple Droll and triple Cherries. I decided these are the hand traps I wanted to play, Because against a lot of the decks that you would just play stuff like Ash and like Ogre against, like it's pretty like unnecessary. Like Ogre's fairly underwhelming in this format. Ash is like not that great, especially siding in. Is something you really want to side it in against it in particular. The only things I was really fearing were like other combo decks, so like Mirror Match or like Goki decks. So you can just always side this in. This is insane against the Mirror. This is also good against like random matchups, like against like Trickstar or whatever. Goki now, like again, like just the combo decks. Yeah, and this is also good against stuff like I said, like stuff like Trickstar or whatever, just to stop them like getting up ahead of steam, just setting up like double reincarnation and just like blowing you out of the game by burning you. So yeah, these were pretty good. I never actually had to like side these ones in particular, because the thing is when you go first game 1 and you just like FTK them, like you have to like side blind, so you can't afford to side cards like these. But yeah, so that's the idea. And then we sided triple twin and triple evenly. This is just stuff for the back row decks. Just against like Altergeist, Striker, Paleo, stuff like that. Just any of these is usually a game. There was one point where actually game 2 against an Altergeist player, I won game 1. I opened this, and then his board is like 4 back row and a silk, and then I'm like, I draw this, I win surely. So I evenly him. He goes chain spoofing, bounce silk, get faker, and he just keeps 1 back row. Someone's faker, someone's Melisseek, and I'm like, cool, this is still fine. It just flips right over in. I'm like, alright, okay, cool, whatever. But in every other situation, this is just like pretty much game, because like you can just FTK them going main phase 2 anyway. And the last 3 were just 3 impermanents. So it follows the same idea as hand traps of this, and this also again like works under Azathoth in the Mirror Match. It stops all the combo decks. It's good. This is the best one going in blind against decks. Because going second, even against stuff like BA, you just like hit like Phoenix Rhino Warrior or random stuff like that. Against like Thunder Dragon, you just like hit their like Titan because you don't care about Colossus. So it's just like the most generic thing you can side in against stuff when you're going in unknown into game 2. So some people are playing Chalice over this, I saw, for like a similar reason, because you could also just do this mid combo, like if you draw it off a danger. But I think I would like this more as just a generic hand trap you could have for going second, just for the Mirror Match and for other combo decks, because I knew like the later I got into the tournament, the higher chance of playing against Mirror Matches would be. So I think like this was just a safer call. But yeah, no, that was the list that I played for this event.
Anything you want to say about the report itself, or the tournament itself? Or?
Yeah, sure. So like I said earlier on, I was like X2 by round 4, and I felt like I was just something was going wrong for me with the deck. Or, like I just like I made like the wrong choice or whatever. What actually ended up happening was that one of the rounds, the round 2 that I lost against Altergeist, he judgments my card destruction, ashes my Beginning of the End, has Bell for my Chupacabra, Lost wins one of my guys, and then when I finally am able to make Tomahawk through all of that, he then strikes the effect of Tomahawk, and I'm like, right, okay, cool, he had 5 interruptions. And then so that's like pretty cool. Like I almost won through all of that except for the last strike. But yeah, and then against BA round 4, game, I can't remember if it was game 2 or game 3, I don't know if I got swifted, but I was going first anyway, and this deck plays 22 dangers in it, and that means there's a 99.4% chance of drawing into either the dangers or an Armageddon Knight to get your engine started. And I opened none of those, so I lost to a 0.6% in that matchup because he just like OTKs you in a second. Every other matchup was actually fairly swift. Like I played against like 5 strikers, and they were just all so free. So you can FTK them going first. Even if you don't go first, you can just like clear that board so easily. Even if if you win, you just side in twins and evenly, and like then if you lose, you just go and FTK them the next turn. And then like I don't even know if people were like hand trapping incorrectly. I think this deck is just actually just so resilient to hand traps. So often people were like going like impermanence or Ash and like a Curious, and then it didn't matter because you just go like Armageddon Knight Send, and you still mill, and you just go Beginning of the End, and it's like it's kind of weird. Like it's non-linear, I feel, in what is like the best thing to hand trap, because there's points where Azathoth means that you can't hold your hand traps too long. If you can see them able to stick to level 4s on board, you have to stop it. You have to hand trap immediately. And then in other cases, it's like if you hand trap them too early, they can just dangers draw into additional plays. But then if you hold it too long, then you can just end up just losing because you held the hand trap too long, and then they've already reached a certain point in the combo where it's just inevitable. Because they can just unicorn spin firewall back and just keep looping. So yeah, I think this deck was definitely the right choice for this event. I mean, it took It was the highest
the
represented
highest
deck
represented
in top 32. It had 9 out of only 50 people that entered with it.
Yeah.
And then there was like 33rd and 35th both played it as well. So it was so close to having like an actual third of top cut. So I think it just shows how like insane the deck is. This is without someone sorting everything as well. Like,
yeah, it's not as good as like the Niagara Falls list.
Exactly, yeah. But it's like, that's the thing. Like, I think because the fact that people presume this deck just wouldn't exist over here, they just like didn't prepare for it. Yeah, didn't respect it. People like all weekend, all I heard was everybody saying, "I hope I don't play against FTK." Like, rather than preparing for it, or even like saying like I'll take a game 1 loss inside for it. People were just saying, "I'm just gonna like act as this matchup doesn't exist, not respect it, and like hope to like just get rewarded." And most people didn't, because like the further you went in the day, like the deck would just show up more often. Yeah. But yeah, no, that's the whole deck. A little frustrated that I didn't get the top out of it, but it was my own fault for being X2 after round 4. Yeah. Yeah, but like it is what it is.
Any shout-outs you want to give, or anything you want to say? Or?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll shout out a few people. Obviously, shout-outs to the team. We had 4 players make top cut, which is insane for us. Because I think it's definitely the best showing the team has had up to this stage. Yeah.
8 people entered 4 top.
Yeah, 8 people entered 4 topped. 6 of us stayed 2'd. And if this was Euro, 6 of us would have topped.
7 stayed 2.
Alec, I suppose Alec day 2. Yeah.
7 of 8 day 2.
Yeah, so it was like an insane record for us.
We had like this represented team, joined with Eman.
Yeah, joined with Eman more than CCG, so it was like an insane weekend for us. Shout out to Ping for coming second and just playing so much in the final. We still love you though, Ping.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. Shout outs to like all the guys that I stayed with at the weekend and just like hung around with. All the UK guys. Shout outs to Billy, who's always, he was always the best support, and for topping his first YCS this weekend.
Thank you.
Very proud of him playing Altergeist-Spieler.
Ich bin ein Altergeist-Spieler.
Shout out to Coogan for convincing him to get on that deck as well.
Yeah, I convinced myself.
Sure, of course.
I'll tell you a story.
Yeah, fair. And then I suppose then just like shout outs to all the guys back at home who are always just like the best like supporters of all of us. Like,
big shout outs to Ireland. Yeah,
Ireland, like, all the Irish community in general, they're like just so supportive, and like whenever we go to events, they're always like checking up on us.
Smashing the heck out of the comment section.
Yeah.
Big up.
Yeah, love you, Mark.
Big up, Dublin. I love you too, Mark.
Yeah, and I suppose shout outs to Card Market, our sponsor.
Yeah.
They've been like a good help, just like helping us out with a whole lot of stuff. And hey, Card Market vouchers, they're pretty good. Card Market sleeves, and Card Market stuff.
Make sure if you guys need singles, it's the best place to shop.
Yeah. I can't think of a code that we have at the moment, but if we find one, we will get one sorted very soon.
So any closing comments or?
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty much it. I hope there's a ban list very soon to deal with a deck like this. Firewall's not going to get banned.
Let's ban 5 cards around Firewall.
Yeah, let's ban like 5 burn cards and maybe Grapha, but like not Firewall. But yeah. But yeah, other than that, no, I'm just going to leave it here, and I'm just going to let people be angry in the comments that I played an FTK deck, and I apologise, but yeah, that's it.
That's perfect. Thank you very much, Cormac, and congratulations on unfortunate as well at the same time. Yeah, cheers,
it happens.
Thank you.
Thank you.